This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. And folks, here we are, September the 25th, 2022. And boy, we have a great guest on the show today. He's in a film that came out 21 years before I was born. I just turned 50. We watched this particular film in my science fiction class and at the University of New Brunswick in 2002. The film in question, The Day the Earth Stood Still. And I have who was a child actor in the film, Billy Gray. How do you do, Bill?
Very well, thank you. And how are you?
I'm doing great. We got a little bit of a windstorm going on here, but I understand it's nice there where you are there in California.
It's a perfect day in Southern California.
Yeah. Do you ever have these situations where Canadians get off the plane and they're all in their uh sh
Overcoats.
yeah, but they're in their like their shorts and t-shirts, and because it's funny what you guys find cold and what we find cold are two very, very different things.
Very different. Very different. Yeah.
Yeah, some of the stuff weather that you guys find cold, we barely reach. So I often laugh at you Californians. But nonetheless, it is great to have you on the show today. And but before we get into The Day the Earth Stood Still and others of your films, I would love to hear a little bit of your background and what got you into the industry.
Well, my mother was an actress, Beatrice Gray. She was opposite Johnny McBrown and Bob Steele and Hoot Gibson, and she was diminutive, and so she got a lot of work with Bob Steele because he was a little guy, and so he didn't have to stand on a box or anything. So kind of like Alan Ladd and Sophia Loren was kind of an awkward situation.
Hmm.
So my work with Bob Steele,
There you go. There you
and
go.
the way I got into the biz was uh, I was I was at a play that my older brother was in, a school play, and I was running up and down the aisles, and a lady said, "Take me to your mother," and turns out it was my mother's agent, uh, uh, unbeknownst, and Lola Moore was her name, and she said to my mom, she says, "I can get this kid some work," and so we went for it. I was like 5, and smart ass, just really my one of my nicknames in my early career was the Gremlin. So it kind of, yeah, gives you a handle on kind of nail him down was something I heard frequently because I wasn't standing still like you're supposed to from time to time. So I just got every interview I went on. There were little, like I said, I did, oh, I don't know, felt like 100 little bit parts. Probably was less than that, but a whole bunch of them. And then eventually I started getting larger, larger and larger parts where I had to actually say words, and uh, and then one thing led to another, and I guess I worked until I was what 21 or 2 in the biz, and then got busted for grass, and
Oh, gee.
that was the end of my acting, pretty much. In '62, I think it was. Uh, Grass was not really differentiated from hard drugs or something. I was, in fact, I had a headline in the Enquirer newspaper. I don't know if you've if Canada people know about
Oh,
the
I'm very familiar with it. Yep.
yeah, well, the headline was he's off marijuana, but he still has to straighten out his life. That was the tag. I never found marijuana to be a detriment. Actually, I've enjoyed it my whole
Quite
life.
frankly, it isn't as far as I'm concerned. In fact, there's a lot of health benefits to it, apparently. I
Yeah.
have never smoked it myself, but I know it's helped people. I find it strange the controversy surrounding weed. I personally, I mean, I'm not against. I don't smoke, period, but
Well,
I know,
smoke is not good for your lungs.
no,
Period. I mean, we're not supposed to have smoke in our lungs,
no,
but it,
but
it was it was kind of uh, like I say, it was the death knell of my acting career, which is double edged because I got into something I enjoyed equally as much. Because I couldn't get a job acting, I was able to follow a real passion, which was speedway motorcycle racing, and that's a kind of a well kept secret, but it's just the most thrilling thing and that I've ever done, and I'd like to be able to do it right now, but I'm just too weak to do it right now because I'm 84. No, yeah, 84, and then in like a couple of months I'll be 85. So I guess my speedway days are over, I'm afraid.
how about slowway days?
I, I'm enjoying the hell out of slowway days right now. I can't get away from the new. I'm a news junkie. I can't pull myself away from CNN and MSNBC, and if I could get Anon, I'd like to get it, but it's not on my system or something. But I do watch Newsmax and Fox too. I mean Tucker Carlson. I mean Jesus. I mean enough said. Uh, Any rate, my days are full just keeping up with the reality show that is our politics in the lower America here.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's talk about The Day the Earth Stood Still. Like it's a landmark science fiction movie. Talk about being cast in that.
Well, it was just another interview as far as I was concerned. I was starting to get pretty good sized roles about that time. In fact, I got my first starring role was in a movie called Talk About a Stranger, where I actually did get star billing, and my character name in that was Bud, ironically. And then the next big part I got was this Father Knows Best. So that kind of set me up. And before that was The Day the Earth Stood Still. Was actually before both of those. I think that was in '51. I
Mm-hmm.
think still. And for my money, I think it's one of the most important pictures that's ever been made. The message is as relevant today as it was 60 odd years ago. It dealt with our messing around with nuclear power, and
Yeah.
that was the message. And here we are. We still haven't figured out what to do with the waste material from our nuclear power plants, uh, and we've got saber rattling from this jerk in Russia. Uh,
Yep.
I mean, it's just like I say, the message of that movie. I think I think it should be required viewing in schools as a part of the curriculum. That's how
Mm-hmm.
important it is. And I just I thank my lucky stars that I had a chance to be involved in such an important movie. And my work was good. I don't cringe at watching it anymore. Like some things when you watch yourself, you see where you fell short of what you should have been doing, and it's kind of awkward. But I don't mind watching that movie. I've seen it probably a half a dozen times over the years.
No,
Oh, you
you,
just
huh?
uh, you just went dark, but it was my television that went dark, so it wasn't you. You're okay.
Yeah, no, we watched it in our science fiction class. I was taking a bunch of film courses at the university. I wasn't going after any doctrine or anything like that. I just wanted to, I was doing film criticism at the time, and I just kind of wanted to learn my craft better. So I took three film courses, one on film and how to read film as a cinematic practice, and I took one on the history of film, and I took a science fiction class and watched some movies in these classes, which was a lot of fun. We wrote essays on them, and yeah, Day the Earth Stood Still was one of the science fiction films that was played, and
Well, a few years ago, there was a survey that was done by some science fiction magazine, and it it still won best sci-fi movie of all time, and this was after Star Wars and stuff had come out, so it was up against some serious movies, and it came out number one as being the best sci-fi movie of all time, as far as their readers were concerned, at any rate.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
no,
let me tell you a story that I heard. I mean, I can't vouch for the reality of this, but
mm-hmm,
I have heard it, and it was that the guy who played Professor Barnard, Sam Jaffe,
mm-hmm,
uh, he was picked to do that part, and the casting people came back to the studio or the producer and said, "Can't use him. He's on the what do you call the red? No, what's what I'm black. He was blackballed.
oh, that whole communist crap,
Yeah,
yeah,
the Un-American Activities Committee had found that a few actors and had been involved in something that they were not able to work anymore, and apparently Zanuck uh, uh, gave the finger to them and said, "Hey, we're using him, and sue me. So what? And it couldn't have been a more appropriately cast part too. I mean, Sam Jaffe was perfect as Dr. Barnard. No question about it.
well, those idiots, they had nothing better to do. I've seen footage of the stuff they pulled, and glad it's not going on now, because I'm going to tell you, I probably would have been arrested for assault if I got hold of one of those people hassling me and coming to my door, and you were talking to so and so. It's like, so what? You know?
Yeah. Well, incidentally, Jane Wyatt was on went on a plane ride with a bunch of other people to go back to Washington to like show support in resistance to that outfit. And she didn't work. She went like for a couple of years without getting a job until Robert Young and Eugene B. Rodney hired her to be the mother on Father Knows Best, which is kind of a
Hmm.
odd coincidence, but yeah, we have a particularly sordid political system down here still. I mean, the fact that 75 million people, or 74 million, I forget they voted for Trump, for Christ's sake. I mean, you know, 70 odd million Americans think this guy is capable of being a president. I mean, I like I say, I can't get away from the television set. it's reality TV in a very dire way.
Yeah. I just got my television set up to watch my Blu-rays, and it's probably for the better, you know. Takes me away from reality, you know. But
Well, there was another story I heard about Daniel Stood Still was that the script was submitted to the army to get their help. Usually, the army will give you tanks and jeeps and whatnot to help you make a movie, and they passed on it. They said, "No, we don't want anything to do with it." And they went to the National Guard, which is apparently under different management or something, because they got the National Guard gave them the tanks and jeeps and whatnot to use in the movie.
well, I bet the army probably regretted not being part of that.
Well, I don't know. It didn't. The movie didn't really put our government in a great light. You know, I
Nope.
mean, and I guess they were a little sensitive to that. You know, I mean, here we built how many? I think 10,000 is not an exaggeration of how many bombs, atomic bombs we built. I mean, can you imagine that
Hmm.
we have, and that's probably duplicated in Russia. They probably built as many as we did or more, for all I know. You know, but I mean, just craziness. I mean, as if after blowing up Hiroshima and Nagasaki, you'd think we would have figured it out that this is an impossible situation. You can't have a nuclear war. I mean, it's just craziness, literally crazy. And we're still here. We're still in this situation where we're contemplating, oh boy, he better not use nuclear weapons, or who knows what we'll have to do if he does, you know. Oh my God. It's nightmarish.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But nonetheless, Day the Earth Stood Still was directed by Robert Wise. Talk about a filmmaker that had quite the career. What was your impressions of him?
Well, I kept in touch a little bit after the movie, and he is genuinely the most uh, uh, I don't know what's a good word. Genuine, I guess, is a good word. He's really a nice guy, just without trying. You know, like a lot of people can lay a facade out that's acceptable, but he's the real deal, and just being the nicest guy I ever met in Hollywood, really, as well as being a pretty good director.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, of course, we got to talk about Michael Rennie, who, of course, was the being coming out of the spacecraft, so to speak.
The only thing I remember about him, aside from being a professional and not a actor type, but a real pro, was that he was putting the moves on my mom, which was kind of he was getting her chairs and coffee and making sure she was had the right position to watch what we were doing and everything. And my mother was she was a looker, so I can understand. And apparently he was kind of a ladies' man as well. I don't know how far it got, but I do remember that there was a lot of solicitude going on.
Maybe he was going to take her into space.
That could be.
There you go. And then you got Hugh Marlowe and Patricia Neal, of course, and pivotal roles as well.
Yeah, yeah. Patricia Neal. We would they would honor Robert Wise from time to time, and when they do these presentations, they'd invariably show the Day the Earth Stood Still, and a couple of times she and I were both invited to speak and do question and answers, that kind of thing. And she tells a really cute story. I wasn't in on this, but when they were in the cab, uh, fleeing, the army was trying to get him, and the scene was that he would tell her, "Now if anything should happen to me, you've got to get to Gort and say these words, and it's Klaatu Barada Nikto, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and so they were rehearsing it in the back seat of this cab, process screen, in back, and uh, and so during the rehearsal, every time she would repeat the words, she'd crack up. She'd get a giggle going, and so finally she tells the story, and so finally uh, Michael Rennie said, "Is that the way you're going to do it?" And she said, "No, I can hold it together when we roll," and she was able to, avoid giggling, but she didn't realize how important the movie was at the time. It was just another job, and I mean, over the years, it has become a classic, and we're both very. She's a wonderful lady. You got a real sparkle in her eye still, even after she had a stroke or whatnot, and but she came back just fine, and really a really nice lady. I was happy to be involved with her.
When did it occur to you that this movie was going to be a classic? Like, obviously you're on set and you're doing the movie, and you're not thinking about any of that stuff. But when did it occur to you that you were in a bona fide classic?
Well, it was much later. I think it was probably about the time that that they would show they would give these awards to lifetime achievement and best this or best that or whatever to Robert Wise, and
Mm-hmm.
it probably was about that period of time when I kind of realized, well, I was involved in something kind of important here apparently, because like I said, it was just a movie to me.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of interesting. I mean, I wasn't a sci-fi person. I mean, I never really followed that genre. I mean, I did like The Thing. I like that. That was
Mm-hmm.
that got my attention. But
Which one, the original one or the John Carpenter one?
the original one,
Okay.
yeah, I'm not even sure I saw the a later version.
Okay.
But, but like I say, I wasn't into sci-fi. It wasn't one of my things like some people are.
Mm-hmm.
But I never gave a second thought to the possibility that we could be visited. And I'm not so sure about that right now. One of my favorite TV shows is Ancient Aliens, and they show it all the time, and I watch it a lot. And I'm well, there's these movies that they've got now from the fighter pilots on that took off from the Nimitz aircraft carrier. They've got actual footage, of flying unidentified flying objects, and so I mean there are UFOs. There's no question about that. It's what are they is the question, and I'm not so sure now whether we haven't been visited at earlier on. That movie or that TV show, Ancient Aliens, makes a pretty strong case for the fact that thousands of years ago. Well, they're dating the Sphinx and the pyramid, the Great Pyramid. The now and there's other something just got discovered a few years ago. Gobekli Tepe, I think is the way it's pronounced. A little area in Turkey that goes back 12 plus thousand years, but before there was writing or before there was the wheel even, and this place is I mean, there's lots more. We don't have all the answers. Let's put it that way. There's more going on than is dreamt of in our philosophies. To paraphrase.
I think in many ways we're creating more questions.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. Way more
Yeah.
questions.
Well, of course, you were a young boy for Day the Earth Stood Still. So your imagination was still young, and you had this sense of adventure and growing up. What was it like being on set there and seeing the production and that big tall robotic thing and all that?
Yeah, well, I was aware that he was a big guy. Lock Martin's his name, the fellow who was inside the suit,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like 7'2" or something. But he was big, but he wasn't he wasn't robust. He was frail actually, so he could only be in the thing. The suit itself was about quarter-inch thick rubber, so it weighed a whole bunch, and so it was a big effort for him to be in it, and I think he could only do 10 or 15 minutes at a time and had to get out and rest up and get his breath back and all that. So it was kind of interesting from that point of view. And but the spaceship itself was typical Hollywood. You look at it from one view, it looks like a spaceship. You get around the other side, it's a bunch of 2x4s holding everything up. So I wasn't all that carried away by any kind of illusion that there was that I didn't put it together that there could even be spaceships really or anything like that. It never occurred to me. It was just a sci-fi movie, basically.
Absolutely, absolutely. What did your peers, because obviously you're going to school at the time, what were your peers' reaction to seeing you in this?
Actually, I don't recall anybody having any comment about that, but I did through the various times where I'd be do a job. My hair would be my hair was blonde for a while, it was black for a while, and I would get comments on that when I'd go back to regular school. It's what's the deal with your hair. But other than that, I I, I wasn't really uh, I wasn't really in the movies uh, to the point where people knew me as a kid actor. I mean, I worked a lot. I did a few movies, but I wasn't like a Mickey Rooney or anything like that. So I never got any shit from the people that were my contemporaries.
Mm-hmm.
And then in high school, I didn't even go to high school because I was in Father Knows Best for the all through the high school years.
Mm-hmm.
So I never had the high school experience all that much. So it wasn't an issue basically.
Okay. Do you ever get to do the conventions like your Comic Cons or anything like that?
I I have done a few of those. I haven't for quite a while. It's been oh dozen years or so. Well, no, I did one. I did one a few years ago, but I've been to probably a dozen of them over the years, and it's kind of nice. You sit there and sign your autograph, and people give you money. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
and they say I really enjoyed you in yada yada yada. I mean, what's not to like?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. What's the most unique thing you've ever been asked to sign?
Let's see. Uh, I think cleavage. I think I signed some cleavage.
That must be nice. Yeah. Well, you got a long resume here and of films, and I was looking through these. Now, you've worked with a lot of interesting people, like um, what is this? Yeah, In a Lonely Place. I mean, you got Humphrey Bogart. Like I
I
was
know.
born in, yeah, I was born in 1972. So I was around at a time when a lot of the classic actors were around, but Bogart was before my time. What were your memories of him?
That's an odd kind of story. I didn't have any memory of him at all. I mean,
Oh.
I was like, when I had that scene with him, I think I was probably 11 or 12. And, uh, and I had a scene where he plays a screenwriter, and he's walking into a restaurant that the screen people go to, like the Brown Derby or something like that. And so I'm standing outside with an autograph book, and he comes up, and I say, "Are you anybody?" And
Uh,
and, and he says, "No, I'm yada yada yada." But we go back and forth a little bit. But I'd forgotten about it entirely, and I'm watching. I mean, I'm a big fan of Humphrey Bogart, and so I'm watching this Humphrey Bogart movie, and all of a sudden I say, "That's me," and I recognize myself in a scene with Humphrey Bogart. So I just I mean that's kind of one of my highlights, and I hadn't even known that I'd done it. But I have worked with a lot of people. Barbara Stanwyck was my mother and something, and who else? Yeah, well, Doris Day was a wonderful
oh
lady.
yeah.
I did,
Talk
I
about Doris.
yeah, I did a couple of really neat pictures with her. Uh, let's see, by the light of the silvery moon and on Moonlight Bay, and I think the first one was on Moonlight Bay, and that made so much money for Warner Brothers. It made more money than any picture they'd ever made before that. So right away they made another one, of course, and
Hmm.
those were good movies. They hold up really well. She's a delight. Absolutely. I mean, that's another person like Robert Wise, who's actually lives up to the her reputation as being a sweet lady. She really is one of the gang. Like she's one of the crew. She wasn't like the star. She would she would be opposite. She'd stand next to the camera when you do a scene to be off stage and for your back and forth. And a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah, you were in a movie with Bob Hope.
That's right. Yeah. Who
Hmm.
doesn't get as much credit for being a good actor as he is.
Oh,
He's a
he was a
he's a
terrific
good actor.
actor.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the comedian and everything, but you don't hear about him as an actor's actor, but he actually acts good at
Yep.
it.
Oh, absolutely. And you worked with Dorothy McGuire.
I don't remember Dorothy McGuire.
Okay.
Dorothy McGuire. What was the movie, do you think? Do you remember?
Oh, let me find it here.
Dorothy McGuire.
Because
Olivia de Havilland.
there's a
I was
lot of
in a movie,
these. What's that?
I was in a movie with Olivia de Havilland. I remember that.
Oh, Mr. 880. That had
Oh,
Dorothy
Mr.
McGuire.
880. Yeah, that was what's his name? God, the guy who played.
Oh, Burt
Uh,
Lancaster. Yes.
yeah, right, yeah. Didn't he do Jim Thorpe too? Wasn't that Burt Lancaster that did Jim Thorpe? I think he played Jim Thorpe
Yes, he did. Oh, you worked with him twice.
I played him as a kid. I never met him because we were
Well, I
you
there's a lot of these movies I'd never seen before, so I'm kind of going through and kind of being introduced to a lot of these as well. So what do you think about being Burt Lancaster and the Young?
well, yes, I felt a little put out, as a matter of fact, because one of the scenes or one of the sequences in that movie was my father drove me to school in a buck wagon, and I ran back and beat him back home from school. And during the running scenes, they didn't let me run. I had a double uh, do the running for me, and I felt a little put out that I wasn't. I guess it was that they figured they didn't want me to trip and fall and scrape my face or something, and not be able to do the scenes or something, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, but I felt kind of shortchanged that I wasn't able to do the running because I'm a pretty good runner actually.
Okay. Well, you were in a noir film called Talk About a Stranger.
Yeah, the movie that I got star billing in, as a matter of fact, next to George Murphy and Davis, who later became Mrs. Reagan. Nancy Davis was my mother, and George Murphy was my father in that one. And I got equal billing with them. My first time that I got billing like that.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm exploring a lot of these. I got to check some of these out. Because you've done the day the Earth stood still, and I'm amazed at some of the people that you've worked with. Like I'm looking at the explosive generation. I mean, that was an early one for William Shatner.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. That was before he got Star Trek or any of that.
And you have Virginia Field in that, Patty McCormack.
Leak and Solving was in
Yep.
it.
So, the people that you have worked with, who absolutely blew your mind?
There is somebody, and it was recently. Gosh,
Wow.
I'm blanking on his name. But uh, it was a sci-fi kind of movie, a Dracula kind of movie. Let's see, oh gosh, I can't think of. Maximilian Schell is the guy that impressed me the most. He played a Dracula figure, and what do they call a vampire? Vampire
Vampire.
Wars. Vampire Wars, I think, was the name of the movie, and and he played the head vampire, and I was his major domo. I was his like assistant, and I couldn't get enough of this guy. I mean, he was fantastic. I mean, I don't go out of my way to watch people when they work all that much, but I made sure that I watched everything he did because I was blown away by how good he was at what he was doing.
Yeah. Yeah, you worked right up into the 70s. You were in Werewolves on Wheels. I love the
Yeah,
title of that.
yeah, yeah. I got run over on the playbill. Is a picture of a motorcycle running over somebody, and it's me that they're running over.
Well, according to Wikipedia, um, I never heard of this movie. Pork Lips Now, they say is your last movie. Now, I could go on IMDb and probably see differently.
Yeah, that's a send up of Apocalypse Now.
I
Uh,
love Apocalypse Now.
yeah, well, I was infuriated when I saw the movie. I booed vocally in the theater on several occasions, where I thought they were just being bloodthirsty in the extreme when they were slicing up that cow. I just felt it was just gratuitous bloodlust, and I didn't like the movie at all. I didn't. I mean, and anyway, so what happened just by accident was that I had a friend of mine that I'd known for years. A friend of his was this fellow Ernie Facilius,
Hmm.
who one of his things was making short subjects send ups of various hit movies. He did Hardware Wars, which was a Star Wars send up, and he did a couple of other ones. And so I played Dullard, which was Martin Sheen's role in this in Pork Lips Now, and the thing was that I was supposed to be looking into this guy who was selling meat at under market prices, and it was, I mean, it was just a it's just a satirical put on of that movie where I'm kind of I'm imitating the Martin Sheen's character and kind of doing dumb things basically. I like Martin Sheen, and he was good in it, but but I don't know. I didn't care for the movie all that much actually. So
It's my
it was
it's my favorite war film.
yeah. Well, I mean it has its points. There's no question about it. But I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
Hmm.
That
Yep, yep. I like that, but I think the worst war movie I ever seen was Pearl Harbor. I hated that movie because
Mm.
they just basically romanticized Pearl. They instead of a movie about Pearl Harbor, they have two soldiers fighting over a nurse basically through 75% of it. It was junk.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah.
Well, there's a lot of junk out there, as a matter of fact. In fact, I think in retrospect, I mean, I liked acting, and I thought I was pretty good at it. But the fact that I wasn't able to have a career continuing on is kind of a blessing in a way, because I did get into something, the speedway thing that I enjoyed more than anything that I've ever done. And I did it for 23 years. I did speedway motorcycle racing on a regular weekly basis, or three and five times a week. I go race these speedway motorcycles. So I figure my bust was a blessing in disguise,
There
basically.
you go. Do
And
you have any?
and
Yeah.
you know, the one of the auxiliary points I was getting to is that you end up inadvertently getting in a lot of movies that you kind of almost wish you hadn't have been in, and Werewolves on Wheels was one of them, and Navy versus the Night Monsters is another one. Mimi Van Doren was in that one,
Yeah, I
and
haven't
those are
seen
movies.
those though.
No, well, they're turkeys, but that was in a time when I my agent, which was MCA at the time, was a big deal. MCA was a big deal, and they said, "No, we can't handle you anymore." And so I couldn't buy a job basically, and these were offered to me, and I took them, but in reality, I shouldn't have taken them. It was beneath my art, because acting is an art, and it's a very important one, and it's abused too often, because human beings learn by imitation, and when you're up there on the screen, you're going to be imitated one way or another, and it's a big responsibility to do a role where it's an ugly person who's doing things that you don't want people to do, and yet you're lending yourself to that, making it human, and making it appear that if someone's on the borderline of of being antisocial, they can use your reality as well. Okay, then I can I can I can fulfill this monstrous thing that I have in mind, because I'm seeing somebody who's a real person doing something. I don't know. It's vague, and I haven't nailed it down, but there's a responsibility that actors have that I don't think they're accepting as they should.
Do you have any charities that you're passionate about that you wanna
I
plug on
I
here?
am passionate about something, but I haven't found a way to bring it about as yet. If my ship ever comes in and I've got a few billion to throw around, I would like to see to it that the golden rule is a part of the curriculum in school from the get-go, from kindergarten. If people only knew that they could feel good about themselves by following the golden rule, the world would be an entirely different place. And it's that simple. It doesn't, you don't have to have a God, because I think gods are problematic for sure. And I went to Catholic school, so I lost any illusion I ever might have had about the worthiness of religion. I think religion is has got a lot to answer for, basically. And if everybody just followed the golden rule, that's we're home free. So I think it should be required in as something you learn, that you will feel good about yourself as a person if you follow the golden rule. And that's about all we need as a civilization to straighten everything out. So that's my like I say, when my ship comes in and I've got a few billion to throw around, I'm gonna get a foundation together to pump up the golden rule.
Okay. Well, your web page is up here. Discuss that, plug that for listeners.
Oh yeah, billygray.com.
Mm-hmm.
And my this guy who's friend of a friend of Ernie Facilius, the send up guy,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and I have been partners in business for a long time. He plays the guitar. He tried to teach me to play the guitar, but it was beyond me. But he kept coming up with these problems with the guitar, and I'm kind of a inventive type person, and I would come up with these solutions to various problems. So between us, we probably got a dozen or so patents on various tools that make guitar playing a more pleasant event. And so so if you're a guitar player, check out billygray.com, and if you see something you like, just click on it, and you can buy them.
There you go. Well, you know what? It was absolutely wonderful having you come on here today. I know we were going to schedule for Tuesday, but you know, we ended up doing it now, and I think it's great. It I'm quite thrilled, to have somebody from the day the Earth stood still on here. I mean, talk about film history. Did you see the remake of it?
I've seen portions of it over time, and I even had a when I heard that they were doing it, I said, well, I thought that it was going to be a remake, and so I said, well, I better get an agent and throw my hat in the ring for what do you call it? What do they call
Cameo.
those little things? A cameo, exactly.
Hmm.
I could be a bartender or a cab driver or something, And so I did. I got an agent, and I said, "This is what I want to do." And so he got me an interview with the casting people, and they gave me the lines to read, and the lines they gave me were Professor Barnhart. And so I
Hmm.
wasn't, looking for that, at all. But I figured, well, hey, if they want me to read them, and I was kind of an age. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Probably was been about 7 or 8 years ago or something like that. So I
Hmm.
was like 70s. So I figured, well, hell, I'll give it the old college try. And so I hired an opera singer who had a side gig of teaching dialects to people. And so I gave him $100, and he gave me a little bit of a German dialect, and some tips at any rate, something. So I read the lines, and oh, and when I was at the casting office, they don't bother with an accent, you know, and so I read the lines as just straight, and then I got thought about it. I said, God, I mean, this could be an opportunity. So I like I said, I threw $100 at it, and did a little video with an iPhone and with a slight dialect, and made a DVD of it and dropped it off at the casting place. Never heard from them, but in any event, in response to your question, I did see a little of it, and I'm so glad. They said they were going another direction, and thank God they went another direction, because I wouldn't have liked to have been involved in that at all. Because that was, I mean, people sent me reviews of it, as a matter of fact, and one of the reviews was Klaatu Barada boring was one of the headlines, and I mean it got panned horribly. I mean it probably
Hmm.
wasn't as bad as the shit it took for just using the title. I mean, 20th Century Fox had the title, and it was a big title, and they figured we'll make some money on the title. Enough people who love the movie will come to see it. We'll make our money back, and that was about all the energy they put in it, as far as I could discern. So, like I say, I got lucky not to be involved.
Well, I like Keanu Reeves, but to me, he was
I do too.
did
I do
did
too.
he didn't hit the mark in this movie, though. I don't think.
Reeves, I said, yeah, I can see him as Gord, as Klaatu. I said, yeah,
He
absolutely.
he didn't hit the mark for me. Although I gotta say, Jennifer Connelly is not only a terrific actress, but extremely easy on the eyes. So I enjoyed that element.
Yeah.
Hmm. Her showing up there in a black leather jacket there, I'm like, okay.
Oh, if you want, you can look up on YouTube. I put it on YouTube, the scene that I did of Barnard's lines. So I don't know what it's under, but I mean, if you look up Billy Gray on YouTube,
Hmm.
you, you can see what my take on Barnard's lines were.
Okay. Okay. Well, what's going on with you currently, besides watching the news?
Well, I just did. I've been working on an exercise device for a long time. I've been
Hmm.
refining it over the years, and I finally got it to where I like it. And I'm using it right now to see if I can't get a little musculature back, because I would like to do a few more laps on a speedway bike, not race it, but just do some laps. So I've been using this, and I've got a little bicep going now, and if you check on my website, scroll down, and it's called a TV couch exerciser, because I'm a lazy fuck, and I just I mean I'm in a prone. You can see the position I'm in right now.
Uh-huh.
That's how I elevate. So I can exercise while I'm being lazy. So check out my website, and TV couch exerciser. Buy it. I just made 12 of them. So I've got 12 of them ready to send out. So there it is. That's my latest.
There you go. Well, you know what? Uh, works for me. I try
Yeah.
to get out every now and again for a walk, but it's not always possible. So yeah, absolutely. Um, Actually kind of a unique, clever concept. But you probably have biceps bigger than mine, so there you go.
No, no, I had a whole bunch of medical situations. I had a quadruple bypass for one thing,
Oh.
and then I lost both my tits for another. I'm laying down in my favorite position with my hands folded over my chest, and my fingers running across something. I said, "What the hell's that?" And it's a little pea-sized thing. I had a lumpectomy. They did a biopsy on it, and the doc said, "You got to have the rest of that shit taken out." So I had a mastectomy, and then a couple of months later, I'm in my favorite position, and I feel it my other tit. I said, "What the hell's that?" I know what that is. So I had that one taken out. So I lost both tits and a quadruple bypass. So with all of that, I kind of lost what little muscle I had I'm going to try and get it back so I can do a few more laps.
There you go. There you go. Well, you know what? It was absolutely wonderful having you come on here today, on such short notice. And like I said, we are about to do this Tuesday, but you know what? I love it that we did this today,
Yeah,
and
that's
yeah,
good.
this is great. I know Zoom was new for you. I remember when I started out with it, I had somebody from the UK help me uh, get the hang of this, and been doing the podcast since 2015, but I started doing it on Zoom in 2021 in answer in counter to the pandemic. So yeah.
So what kind of feedback do you get anyway? Do people call you up or they email you, or how do you find out how it's received?
Some people comment on the YouTube video or whatnot, I got a lot of interviews that are unlisted right now because I don't release them public right away. I learned that through the
Uh-huh.
pandemic too, because when lockdown happened and I didn't know anything about Zoom, I was lucky to have about 150 interviews in my backlog. So I was able to keep putting stuff up until I was told about Zoom. Now our
Uh-huh.
now our station's back open, but I'm kind of like, it's kind of nice. I'm right in the comfort of my own apartment and can do it like this. I'm like, yeah, I'll go this route.
So do you put them on YouTube
Yeah.
or is that? Oh, they do. Okay, great. So if I want to look at this, how will I go about it?
Well, I'll send you the link whenever I have it ready, and
Okay.
you can post it, share it wherever you want. I don't know when it's going to go public, that I can't tell you, but you have permission to put it on Facebook or your web
Well,
page or
yeah,
where.
that's
Yeah,
what I think. Maybe maybe put a link to it on my webpage. Is
absolutely,
that
absolutely.
okay? Good.
Yep. And that way I can release it public when I'm ready, and you could have it on your website, and I'll still get the views on it, so all's good. Yep. But
Good.
that, yeah, it was my best strategy in combating the pandemic. That because my station manager at the time was saying, when you do an interview, don't put it public right away. Save some for a rainy day. Well, that rainy day turned out to be the pandemic.
Good advice.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. But anyway, before I let you go, would you mind doing a plug for my show?
Absolutely. What do you need?
Just state your name and say you were in the day the earth stood still, and say you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
I what was the last part of it?
Python's Paradise. It's the name of the show.
Python. Okay. My name's Billy Gray, and you're listening to Python's Paradise.
Absolutely. And we are celebrating the day the earth stood still. And when the earth stood still, Billy Gray decided to get his biceps enhanced. He's going to exercise them. And then the earth's going to stand still some more while it marvels at what he creates. What do you
Okay.
think?
Talking.
What's that?
Had a, I had a good time. Nice talking with you.
It was wonderful chatting with you too. Thank you so much for allowing me the honor.
Okay.
All right. Take care, and God bless.
God bless. Although fate bless. Fate.
Well, I believe in God, but
You
I'm
can believe
not
in God.
I'm not going to shove it down your throat.
You're entitled. You're
Yep,
entitled.
yep. I find you don't get anywhere shoving it down people's throats.
No,
I
no.
yep. I try to
That,
treat.
that was one of the big problems I had with the Catholic Church was that
Yeah.
it was either a threat or a bribe. You know, they bribe you to, you know, you'll go to heaven, or they'll threaten you with hell and hellfire and damnation for eternity. I mean, those are not really very effective ways of getting your point across. I don't think.
I don't go to church, it's just too much of it's about money. I find that judging from the person that Jesus was, I there's very good, effective, practical ways to get that across without shoving it down people's throats.
Well, I think the what the book of Enoch, and there's another one too that's Thomas. Thomas is just sayings of Christ, which is you can get a lot more out of that than you can any of this dogma bullshit.
Yeah. Well, no, that's pretty much it, but um I'm not in the side of shoving it, you know.
Yeah,
That accomplishes nothing, so
no,
yeah.
no. As a matter of fact, it's the other direction. Even
Yeah.
it
I
not
mean,
only does it
I
drives people away.
I enjoyed having you on regardless, it was wonderful having you on here. I'm still picturing you doing the whole bicep thing there whenever you get and you'll probably have bigger arms than me regardless. You probably have bigger arms than me now.
Well, I'll try.
Yeah, there you go. Well, you enjoy the news. I hope they actually could put some good news on there, but something
Oh
tells
yeah,
me
I'm looking forward to seeing our orange guy really in orange. I want to see him frog walked out of Trump Tower, you know, in orange. I'm waiting for it.
I don't know why, like what was going on. I was a little shocked. I didn't think he would win when he did, and
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
just it turned the everything into a sideshow.
yeah. Well, you know, I mean, if the glass half full part of it is that it's really a stress test for this country. I mean, it's in our face now that our system is capable of producing this guy in a position of power. Now that's scary all by itself,
Oh
and
yeah.
it's a good lesson. And I think we're over the next few months we will learn that lesson thoroughly because he's able to call people out into the streets any minute now. You know, the minute he's indicted, he's probably going to say, "Okay, people, are we going to stand for this or not?" You know, wouldn't put it past him.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, anyway, I'm going to let you get back to what you were doing, and like
Greg,
I said, I appreciate you coming.
it's yeah, the game's still on.
There
We'll
you
see you
go.
later, man.
You take care, man. It was a pleasure and honor chatting with you.
Hey, Greg.
All
Let me
right.
know when the let me know when it's on YouTube. I'll get a link to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. All right. Take care.
Catch you later.
Yeah. Bye
Bye.
bye.